Oi, Fantazia.
I'm DJ Macca.
This is Paul Louise.
Hi, my name's Robbie Edwards.
My name's MC Hurricane.
I'm DJ Reverend.
Hey, this is Mark Simon.
I'm John Edge.
Stevie Wonder. Hi, this is Bob K.
I'm Les Calvert. I'm DJ City J.
Yes, this is the KFMC. You're listening to the
Couture 303 podcast
With J Viper, baby.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Couture 303 podcast with me, J Viper, and the eagle eyes amongst you. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll realise I'm not in Kansas anymore. I'm not in my kitchen. I'm not in my studio. I'm not even in my city. I've come down to Stoke to visit this guy, Alex. MC Energy.
Welcome, Dorothy. I'm glad that Kansas wind blew you this way, my friend.
Together, there we are. How are you,
Do you know what I'd love to see? Some shiny, sparkly red shoes being clicked at the heels.
Don't be giving the game away. I've got a scare son down here, and he's
The rest of it I'm going to leave to your imagination, ladies and gentlemen.
Trying to look up my scares as well. Right, as I always do with all my guests, Alex, right back with every story, best place to start is the very beginning. So where and when were you born, mate?
At the beginning, I was born on the 12th of March in Worthing, Sussex. So I'm a South Coast boy originally, Jay.
Yeah.
I moved with my dad's job to the Midlands. I think it was about 8 or 9. And we lived just south of Birmingham in a place called Redditch, or actually before that, Evesham. And then we moved to Redditch.
Yeah.
Some of the ravers will be familiar with both towns, particularly Evesham, the legendary rumours and various other bits and bats.
Yeah.
From there we moved to Lancashire, where I did most of my school life.
So what were you like in school? Were you a good kid, naughty kid?
I was a bit of a clown, mate. I was a bit of a class clown. Not that you'd ever guess. I was always the one that was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and if something went wrong,
it was one of them. It's them other lads who's got himself involved, and not our Alex.
I didn't do anything
Alex.
wrong, mate.
Yeah.
Not guilty. Not guilty, Your Honour.
Yeah, did you excel at anything in school? Were you good at sports, maybe?
No, I wasn't, not at all.
No?
I sucked academically. Not that I have a lack of intelligence.
Yeah.
I just wasn't interested in learning what the mainstream schooling system wanted me to learn.
Yeah.
I was more interested in learning, about music, about being a bit more streetwise, and I was into other various bits and bats. But my school life was good. I had a good upbringing. Yeah. Great loving parents. So that side of things, absolutely fantastic. But no, I was a little sod at school. I still am. That's anybody that knows me, you'll know what I'm like. I'm a nightmare. So I left school with pretty much nothing with regards to qualifications. Got up to a few various bits and bats when I left school. I'll not go exactly into detail, but I did whatever I needed to do to make money. I was always under some kind of employment, but from the age of 17, I've worked for myself pretty much since then. I have a problem with authority. I don't like being told what to do.
You're not the first person on my podcast to say that. I had Gaz West on, and he was the same. He's got a bit of a background where he's got ADHD, and I think he's always had a problem with authority. Yeah. Not that he's naughty, not that he wants to cause trouble. He just doesn't like being told what to do.
Yeah, I'm the same, mate. I've always been the same. I always consider myself to be polite and respectful with people, but I just have a problem with anybody telling me what to do. Yeah. So. Just one of those things. Yeah. That's one of my awkward things in life is just that one issue. But it's done me no harm, following that over the years and learning myself, making my own mistakes, learning from others, and probably making the same mistakes again and again, many a times. But that's life, my mate. You know what I mean?
We all make the same mistakes sometimes, don't we? So
we certainly do.
What was your musical background? So what was your family unit like?
Family unit solid. Got a brother and a sister, both older. I'm the youngest of 3. Okay. I always got on all right with my brother and sister. Yeah. We see each other not too often, here and there. Not so much my brother these days. He's up north. My sister is a little bit more local. She's in Kinetic with my mum. Yeah. But I did leave home when I was 17. I moved down to London. Okay. Which sort of was a bit of a spin-off. I wasn't happy sort of being up north, and I thought I wanted to go and do something different. I moved down to London. I got into a bit of this and that. I was doing a bit of, I don't know, what's the word? Bit of, the shop's called Muscle Hustle. It's called that for a reason. So I'll go no further than that. Musical wise, my early influences were actually coming through my sister. She was a big follower of reggae and dancehall.
Okay.
I found myself randomly going to stay at her house when I was sort of 15, 16, and ended up in, I don't know if you're familiar with the blues, which is basically a rave, but an underground reggae rave. So it'd be an old house or a car unit or whatever, which has been disused and then used as a blues. So in comes a sound system. There was me 15, 16 with my sister, and it was, everybody just knew me as Mandy's little brother. The only white kid in there. Yeah. The only kid in there. The only white kid in there.
Yeah, stood up like a fucking sort of
dreads everywhere, big spliffs up in the air everywhere you go. Yeah. That was my early music influence. That sort of changed around about the age of 16, 15, 16. I started getting into the rave. That was towards the end of school. So yeah, that's my early days basically. Yeah.
So what was did you start out MCing or did you start out as a DJ like some people do?
Nope. Don't let me near a set of decks, please. Never.
So what was awful. When did you get introduced to the rave scene as we know it now then?
The rave scene, as we know it now, I was introduced to on a Thursday night when I was living in Lancashire. Yeah.
Thursday night,
I remember it was a Thursday night. I only know it was a Thursday night because obviously back in the day, Monday nights and Thursday nights particularly was another rave night. Okay. So, you could go out on a Thursday. There was the odd night, and I think it was the limit was on a Monday night in Manchester, I'm sure it was. But there was raves kicking off every night of the week. So I got into it when I was at school, started going to Park Hall, which is in Chorley, which is where I was living.
Park Hall, yeah?
No, Park Hall in Chorley, just off the motorway by Camelot Theme Park. We'll come to the Phillips Park Hall later. We ended up doing an event there. But Thursday night, the reason I remember it is because the legend himself used to play there every Thursday near enough, Stu Allen.
Rest his soul. He's been mentioned a lot on this podcast,
and deservedly so, mate. But just an honour to have known the guy, let alone worked alongside him. His work ethic, and as a professional, he was just a lovely person. And it's his influence, I think, on those Thursday nights, going to Park Hall, that really sort of drew me into club culture, and have started to immerse me into it. That was sort of back end of 92, 93. My first rave stop after that was Kinetic, and that was where I really went.
And that's a place you heavily linked to now, which we'll go to a little bit further.
That's church. That's religion. Club Kinetic. That's really where I'd say my rave journey started. I missed out on a couple of the earlier years. I missed out on the Shelleys thing. I missed out on Entropy, and I missed out on a few of the earlier raves. But 94 is where it really started for me, and that first trip down to Kinetic with the lads from Chorley and Adlington.
The Longton Leisure Bowl.
Yes.
The legendary Longton Leisure Bowl. So when did you decide that you were going to become an MC? Is that something that came out organically, or was the inspiration there from other people? Again,
that first night in Kinetic, I heard a couple of the MCs on the mic and hitting highs, chemical highs as you do.
No idea what you're talking about.
Just hearing the power of an MC over the top of the music and seeing a level of crowd control. It blew me away, and it sort of sucked me in. And I saw the MC. I've obviously heard MCs on tapes, but being in a club where they didn't have one on Thursday night in a Park Hall, you go to Club Kinetic. Suddenly you've got these MCs on the mic, and for me it just took me to another level with the music. The music's great.
And who got me up there? MCs that you listened to at the time?
It'd have been the likes of Connie, Flux. I remember Flux being down on one of the early ones. He's a good friend of mine today, Carl. A very influential MC to me because he's crisp, clear, not 100 miles an hour in his crowd control. He's dominant. Majika at the time, Sticksman, other good friends of mine.
They came down to the Drome in Birkenhead one time. It was towards the end of the Drome. Thinking about, must have been about 96.
96,
Sticksman and Majika, and fuck me, they fucking blew the fucking roof off. We had Cyanide. Now, Glenn. For a lot of us, Cyanide was the
local god.
He was the
sawn off shotguns,
hand on the pump and all that. We fucking loved all that, and it wasn't very often. Obviously, we'd get Malorca Lee,
the Ultrasonic,
and we had
Menace Christian,
MCB Christian Menace, we'd have MCB come down with Ultimate Pulse, and then we had Strictly Verbal come down with Chill FM. But more often than not, it was cyanide was the only guy. This one night, he had sticks on a Majika on. Pandemonium, it was a pandemonium.
I think I was probably with him that night.
Oh my God, I remember walking out and ringing me t-shirts. I fucking smashed it. So go on. So
I remember the first time I went in the drome, there was the big plastic, it was at the entrance as you went in. I'm sure there was like shotgun holes in it, wasn't there? There was bullet holes put through the plastic from some stage. I'm sure from memory
they weren't fabricated. Probably that was better.
I know the voice from up there.
So your inspiration back then was like a sticks man and Majika.
Yeah, I struck a bit of a friendship. Well, I struck a friendship up with them.
It's his mum. His mum's ringing, make sure he's okay.
I should have to call them back in a bit. It's terrible. I actually sort of got friendly with Majika and sticks, and I started travelling. I started actually driving them to clubs for a period of about a year. I'll sort of I'd drive going with them, and that started creating a few opportunities for me to further my passion as an MC, which since going to Kinetic, I'd started sitting in my car. I'd have the tapes on at the time. So you'd have all your tapes in your car with bands. And I'd sit and I'd emulate other MCs, and I'd start my own bits in, and I'd start creating bits of the lyrics. And I wouldn't say I wasn't naturally something straight away that came to me. As some people are, it comes out, and it took me a period of time of sort of bit by bit to the stage where coming up to the end of '95. Myself and Locks were sort of doing a lot of MCing in the back room at Kinetic. We weren't on the flyer, but we were sort of allowed on the mic in there, and we were rolling with the likes of Sten. And eventually I went on in the main room with Bass Generator, and that's so long ago. But it's you
say it didn't come natural to you, and you think it does. I don't think it does. I mean, it's like DJing. It's not easy when you're in the face, especially back in the vinyl days. Yeah. We're talking about pressing sync buttons now, and everything's...
So why have I been trying to mix vinyl for nearly 30 years and I still can't do it?
It's fucking hard. And I think with MCing as well, I don't think it comes natural to anyone. I think there's definitely a learning curve there. So where did the name come from?
Because I was just non-stop. Yeah. I was out Friday, in Sunday night, Monday morning. Where'd you get your energy from? Where'd you get your energy from? And that was where the name come from. Yeah. So it stuck.
After the back room in Kinetic, what was your next gig after that?
Next gig after that, I started getting booked for a little club in Worcester called Zigzags. Okay. I did a couple of gigs down there, and then my first major bookings were, I can't remember the year, 97, 98. I was getting booked for Asylum at Bowlers in Manchester. And then it just went from there. Bit by bit, it sort of blew up. And, I missed out on being a headliner in those early years. And I've had to sort of work through the years and push myself up and up and up as we go. But, it's just something I just had such a passion for when I first heard an MC. I thought, I've got to do that.
Got to do it, yeah.
I'm going to do that.
Did you ever catch Helter Skelter? Did you ever play there?
I never booked for Helter Skelter.
No?
But one of my highlights of my MCing career was MC Freestyle inviting me up on stage at Helter Skelter Human Nature.
Okay.
In 1998. Invited me up on stage to do set back-to-back with him and Scott Vinyl Groover.
Yeah.
For me at the time, this was like... I'd done the little room upstairs, the little top room in the Sanctuary. This is up on the main stage, which I'd done a Hysteria there in 95. But to get up at Helter Skelter, that was like another level. It was Helter Skelter and Dreamscope were like the dons of dons.
Yeah.
And Sam Freestyle, again, good friends to this day, and he'd let me come on sets with him and Scott here and there. So he called me up on stage, and this was just fucking Helter Skelter. And I can remember standing there, and I was like, just looked at this crowd, and I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Shit, and my skin's tingling. I'm like, this big apple in my throat.
Yeah.
Anyway, we did the set, and we did like 40 minutes back to back on this set. A brilliant set. And then for me, that it's one of the highlights of my career. I can just remember just feeling this absolute force of whistles and horns. And if ever you went to the Sanctuary, you'll know it, because it wasn't just there. It fucking hit you.
I never actually went, but we definitely picked up on the tapes. It was a wall of noise, wasn't it?
It was people say to go, it's a vibe. This was a vibe. Yeah. This was a serious vibe.
I actually feel this.
Yeah, it's like pushing me back, but it's drawing me in. I'm like, which way am I going here?
Yeah.
But next level. Yeah.
So what's your take? I mean, I think we spoke about this off camera a little bit. drugs in the industry, was that something that ever was a problem for you?
Drugs? There's drugs in the music industry?
Yeah, I believe. Surprise, kids.
Yeah. Okay, all right. So let's take this on two levels. We've got a serious level and we've got a fun social level.
Okay.
We all know that drugs are a major part of the rave scene, and it wouldn't be what it is without
exactly,
it.
100%.
It's part of it. It's integral. Yeah. So there's a social aspect of drug taking. Yeah, everybody's popping pills. With regards to artists, some did, some didn't. Most did, few didn't. Again, I won't mention any names on that. These days it's a different kettle of fish. We're all a lot older. I think anybody who does these days, we generally tend to, if we're going to enjoy ourselves, we do it in out of the way of social media in our own homes. And it isn't very professional to be in your mid-40s standing on stage with your eyes rolling around in the back of your head, completely pickled off your kipper.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's drugs have had a major impact on the scene. Obviously, there's different aspects that drugs have brought into the scene. Obviously, it brings gangs into the scene. Obviously, people are running the clubs, whether it's the door firm, which it was often back in the day, allegedly so, or whether it was locals in the area that were running the trade. So that brings another element in of your gang side of things, which can also bring an element of darkness into clubs.
Of course it can, yeah.
But drugs plays its part in nearly every industry in the world, and not just the music industry. I'm in the fitness industry, and trust me, everyone thinks sports and fitness, everyone's clean as fuck. No, they're not. They're not. And I'm going to tell you now, most of the people that you'll see on Instagram doing fitness and stuff, most of those people are out there, and they're doing the same as a raver is on a weekend. Yeah. These people need to release as well. Yeah. So it's not exclusive to the rave world. Yeah. So yeah, would it be the same without it? No. Pills, speed, without those drugs, we wouldn't, probably most of us wouldn't have as much fun as we did have. Yeah. The other side of it is, and does come with it, is addiction. Yeah. Something I'm not going to make a secret of, and I think people need to be aware of it, is I've had an on and off cocaine addiction since I was 18. Okay.
When you say on and off, when was the last time you took it?
Last night. Yeah, it's something. It's a serious thing, Addiction is, I say as an addiction, it's not something I do in the daytime, but it's something on an evening that a certain triggers.
Habits. More of a
habitual. Yes, yeah. I function fully, as you obviously all know. You see what I do. I'm a bodybuilder. I train every day. I eat healthily. I've done a bit. I went a couple of times the other week, mate. Yeah, I went a couple of times the other week.
He's the same distance from the camera as I am, by the way, just in case you're wondering.
Well, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to go a little bit more side on so he looks wider as well.
Yeah, I was trying to give it all that. What time is it?
I'll save them for later. So, I have a problem with myself with drugs on and off over the years. I still do use cocaine. I'm not going to hide it. I find in this life, if you hide things from people, they will use it against you. Yeah. So I always make pretty much everything I do that, in that sort of aspect, public. I let people know. I won't lie about it. And the other one I get is, do I use steroids? Yeah, of course I use steroids. I'm a professional athlete. I compete, if I go on stage and I'm not using steroids. But does that make me into a cheat with everybody else?
Where I wanted to chime in here, because I was going to bring this up anyway. There's people out there, there's probably people watching and listening to this now who'll go, oh, but it's steroids. I've got a major problem with that. This mythical steroid that you ingest
magic in a bottle,
take, and you wake up looking like the Hulk. So tell the fucking mushrooms at home who the nearest thing they've got to a fucking dumbbell is a picture themselves. What's your level of dedication to get in the condition you're in now? How many hours a week do you train?
The condition I'm in now isn't my peak condition. Last year I had to focus on other things, family issues. Family health issues. So last year my training wasn't where it normally is. I'm working back towards that this year. But when I'm competing, it's 3 hours training a day.
Every day.
Maybe one rest day a week when you're fatigued, especially when you've got competitions coming up. So 3 hours, and when I say training, I don't mean 3 hours of going in and going 3 sets of 10, 4 sets of, I'm talking intense hardcore training.
And then there's the dietary side of things, which is
6 meals a day. Off season when you're bulking, 7 meals a day plus snacks
Completely
in
calorie
between.
controlled.
Yeah, and I mean, I find dieting easy. It's trying to grow at 17, 18, 19 stone, trying to put enough food in to grow.
So back to if you don't mind going back to the cocaine side of things, do you think
Yes,
that was
mate.
a byproduct of the rave industry?
Yeah, I have. I'd say I have an addictive personality. Full stop. Same with the bodybuilding. I find that very addictive. It goes back to the music. You know, as a raver, you take during the week when you're promoting and doing other stuff, you kind of slip into another world with it, and it's something I'm certainly not proud of. I wish I'd never even done a line in my life. I wish I could turn around and say that. But it could be horrible, even doing something that you're not even enjoying doing, but you're doing it because habitually. So if you have got anybody out there that has an issue with that, don't feel embarrassed to talk about it. Don't think that you're the only one in that situation, because I can tell you now, there's more people than you think out there with some sort of addiction. It's a major thing. Big.
As it moves on to another point, how do you find the industry with regards bitchiness and stuff like that?
At the moment,
allegedly,
at the moment, I find it really good.
Yeah.
I find there is a unity amongst promoters and artists that I haven't seen for a long time.
Yeah.
If I go back to, I took a few years out of the scene. I took three and a half years out. I'll go into the reasons of that after. Yeah. Before I came back, which is sort of 18 months, 2 years ago, so 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, it started getting really bitchy.
Yeah.
All over Facebook, just nastiness. And I don't say, I've done videos on this before, and I've put them out there for people to see. I don't like this, slagging people off, naming people on the internet, and all this kind of bullshit. And it got to a stage years ago, and it was like, what the hell's going on?
Well, it happened.
This isn't what it's about.
The industry, didn't it? Again,
Massively.
without mentioning names, there was an MC and a DJ. There was a massive allegation that was all made public. Yeah. Again, I'm not going to go in. You know what I'm talking about there.
I know. Yeah.
And that was a fucking shitstorm. That, mate.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah. Literally. I'll go no further.
Yeah.
I don't really want to go into that one massively. Various reasons.
Of course. Yeah.
It's a very difficult one as to where to sit on that whole situation. I did what I thought was right at the time, what I still think is right to this day, and I stand by that. So that one we'll leave there.
So within the industry, you've developed a lot of friendships, a lot of people, haven't you?
Yeah.
Go into, I know we lost someone quite recently, didn't we?
Yeah, very recently. There's people in the scene that you know that are there, that want to be there when you're doing well and when you've got something to offer them. Then there's the people that, when you move away from the scene, that are still there in your life, and there's a lot less that are there when there's nothing to gain from you than when there is. Of
course, yeah.
And I know who my people are in the scene. Again, I'm not going to mention names, but if you're my people, you know you're my people. You know who you are. I don't need to say that. But I have some very solid friends within the scene that we share birthdays, weddings, etc., family nights out with. But there are few and far between.
So we're going to lighten things up a little bit now.
Yes,
so
mate,
we're going to talk about
lighten the mood.
The old school resurgence and how you got involved in the Kinetic reunions.
Right, the Kinetic reunions. I think it's easier if I start at the beginning with Illusion, so I'll give you the history. I'll run through it fairly quickly. So Illusion,
take your time,
Illusion was our brand we started back in 1999. That was me and a lad called Barney I'm still friends with. We did 2 events at the Void, cutting a short story short. After the second event, I was at one of Daz Willett's parties at the Void as well. And Silly Bollocks here was, I don't have to say allegedly on this one, Silly Bollocks here had a big bag of pills in his pocket, got busted.
What type of pill? Were they headache tablets?
No, they were ecstasy tablets, mate.
Like this little fella here, E-Man. Shout out to E-Man.
They in fact were actually Mitsubishis. No word of a lie.
Love it.
No word of a lie. So that obviously lost us the venue, the Void. So we lost that venue. I ended up in court a few months later. I was sentenced to 6 months jail, 1 year suspended sentence on one charge, and a year suspended sentence on another charge. And I ended up doing 3 months in Shrewsbury Nick for it. Yeah. So a little little excursion, a little trip away on Her Majesty.
Yeah.
Just before I got sent down, a few months before, I met my now wife Stacey, which was I think I was also at one of Daz's nights.
Yeah. How did you meet Stacey?
Stacey was. She says she's seen me a few times coming into North and had her eye on me.
Yeah.
I think she's talking shit. But we met at one of Daz's nights. That was at the end of '99 at the Void. We're still together now to this day. So that era has brought something good, and I now have 2 beautiful grown-up children and 2 beautiful granddaughters.
Yeah.
We moved from the Void. We had to move to the Mets, obviously because I was banned from the Void, couldn't go in there. So we moved to Club Wets, which was a smaller venue. The first couple of Illusion events only did about 200, 250 people. We lost a load of them, only 1,200.
Fucking hell.
So, and that was in 2 rooms. So I think we lost something like $6,000 in the first couple of events. Wow. Forced to move venue, moved it up to Mets in Newcastle under Lyme, which is literally 5-6 miles down the road. I think we did... This is the funny one. The third party, Illusion 3, Club Mets. I was in jail. Got locked up 4 days before it. So I missed my own party.
Fucking. Is this for the pills instance?
Yeah. I was sat in a jail cell listening to music coming out of the Butter Market, which is next to the jail in Shrewsbury, while the rave was going on. So we didn't cancel it. Even when I went to jail, we still didn't. And I've never cancelled a rave to this day.
Yeah.
Never. I've moved them under dramatic circumstances.
COVID and stuff like that.
Yeah. So anyway, we moved to Mets. We did a few events with Dave Beattie. He brought Rebirth into the fold. We did Rebirth Illusion, the concept club. Again, we were doing 200 people, 150. It was a monthly event, 250, 150. Dave said, look, I want to go and do my breaks thing. First event, left on my own. I said, right, I'm going to do Illusion. I'm going to do it's a Shelley's reunion party. Going to alternate on there. Daz Willett, bum, bum, bum. Loaded Magazine got in touch with us. So we got Alternate back out of the blue, and they're doing a couple of little gigs recently coming up to it. They've been out of the scene for a while. Look, we're going to come down and do a review on the night. 600 people in the venue, turned 200 people away.
Why?
Just, I think the format, I think it was doing it as a Shelley's reunion. There's a Shelley's reunion now, but I'll have you know that we did the first Shelley's reunions when we did the Illusion events, and it was always the back room, so we'd do the classic house in the back room. With Mets, what happened there is we sold it out another 2 times. Another promoter who was something originally to do with Golden moved away from them, and he wanted to do this night called Sub 7. So he wanted to do a deal with the club and say, I want the club every Saturday night. Saturday night was the night that we were doing Illusion. Yeah. So what he turned around and says, look, you've got to do the Friday. And I says, no. I says, look, we're the only person that's bringing any money into this club. Yeah. Club Mets was Time and Space, by the way, which you're probably more familiar with. In Newcastle, it was known as Time and Space, and it changed to Club Mets after that. Time and Space is where Club Kinetic moved to after it shut down. So it's the same. It's the same venue, just so you know. So basically, he said, no, you've got to do the Saturday. And we turned around and went, do you know what? No, fuck off. And left. I said, we'll leave the club. We had no venue, didn't know what the fuck to do. Yeah. So Stacey, I said, the only other option I can think of is Kiel. She's like, it's massive. And I'm like, yeah, I know. She says, we
have to up our game.
She says, it's like, so anyway, next thing you know, we're at Kiel having a look around. 1,200 capacity, just the main hall, the ballroom. So we did a Christmas party there, 900 people.
Wow.
So we were forced to move out of Mets, which at the time I was like, fuck shit, what we're going to do?
Yeah.
So we moved to Kiel, boom, 900 people.
Yeah.
So the next one I thought, we'll do 2 rooms, 1,200 people. 2 rooms again, 1,100 people. Right.
Okay, now.
So we ended up doing like 5 rooms in there again. And we ended up with 1,500-1,600 people on a busy night, which would, at the time, would have put it as the second biggest old school night in the country behind the massive Flashback.
Yeah. So what year is this?
Mo and Jimmy's night. This would have been, it was 1999 we started. We moved to Mets in 2000, and I think it was 2001 was the first one at Kiel. So we went from 2001 to 2004 at Kiel. And while we were doing Kiel, we also managed to get back into the Void because the night became that popular. At Kiel, they wanted us to go back. Yeah. I'm now good friends with the owner of the Void. The old owner of the Void. We're now friends. That's behind us, you know. But it's funny how these things happen. Sometimes something happens and you think it's for the worse, and it's not. It works out better for you.
One door closed, another door opens.
And I'm kind of one of those guys that, and I'll just, if I can wing it, I'll wing it. Yeah. I'll do whatever I can.
Yeah.
So yeah, between then and 2005, we sort of alternated between the Void and Keel, and some amazing nights we had in there. Some of them were fantastic. We actually put Jason Kay and Patrick back on the stage together at Keel at the Return of the Kings event, which I think was 2002 or 2003. For the first time they'd been together and performed together in 8 years. Wow. So we put them back together on stage there as well, which for me is a little monumental moment to go in the history books. Just hearing them together again for that first time was like, as a promoter, was like one of those moments where you go, I did that. I did that. That was like big, the buzz back together.
So where did the Kinetic reading come back? And how did you end up with the rights to doing the Kinetic?
I haven't got the rights to Kinetic. I'm not Club Kinetic. I've never claimed to be Club Kinetic. No, everyone knows I'm not. Everyone knows me from back in the day. What I did was back when we were doing... Crikey, his story is so long.
It's okay.
So long. So anyway, it went from... Illusion we stopped doing around 2006. We had a bit of a break, and then we did a few little bits and bats, and then we came back with the Fantazia thing. God, man, this is so long-winded. Why did I do this? Right.
How much film have you got on that camera?
How much battery you got on your camera? Yeah, give me a sec. Give us a couple of minutes if you can, mate, just to get my thoughts as to where we're at.
The Couture 303 podcast is now officially sponsored by Dapper Turkish Barbers in Hunts Cross. You can find them on Wood End Avenue, and they do the full service there. The hair, the beard, the ears, the nose, the cutthroat, the hot towels, the lot. It's the only barbers I ever go to. Fantastic service, great lads. No need to book, just pop in and see them 7 days a week. If you want a nice sick fade like mine, you will not be disappointed. The absolute best in the area. That's Dapper Turkish Barbers, Wood End Avenue, Hunts Cross. And now back to the show.
So we're back after a little quick wee and tech break. So we're back to where we were. So I apologise for the break.
You're all right, mate.
Before the break, we were just discussing different aspects and different brands you've been involved in. So how did the Fantazia thing come about?
Fantazia, wow. Not something I ever expected to sort of fall into my path or come my way, if I'm honest with you.
One of the biggest dance brands ever.
Yes, massively, majorly. Most people you mention sort of certain raves too, if they weren't directly in the rave scene, they'd go, I think I've heard of it. You mentioned Fantazia to sort of probably 80% of people from our generation. They'll go, Fantazia, the rave.
I had the Big Bang video. I did.
I've still got it. I've got most of the recordings, to be honest with you. We've got nearly all of them. They're hiding away in my little music room. Right, basically the Fantazia brand came our way via a friend, Rod, MCNRG. You'll probably know Rod.
Yes. Second MC. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Really underrated, I think.
Yeah, been around for a long time. Yeah. He was talking to Charlie Perkins, who was a brother of James Perkins. James Perkins is the original Fantazia promoter, along with Gideon and various others that were involved with it at the beginning. Now, Rod put me in touch with Charlie, and we worked out a franchise sort of deal, whereas I would do the events in England.
Yeah.
Somebody else is already doing them up in Scotland. He's been doing it up there, still is to this day. Not the Fantazia brand, but still doing events in Scotland to this day. And he gave me the England side of things. So, right, you can have the franchise here. You put the parties on. Yeah, he does the merchandise. Boom, 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 boom. So, right, great. Okay, fine. So, put the first flyer together, put the first lineup together. We did the first one in 2011, April 2011. And that was the Return of the King's 20th anniversary of Fantazia. We did that here in Stoke.
Yeah.
In my hometown, which was great. Brilliant. Love it. Can't get better than doing a party in your hometown. The capacity down there was 2,200. I think we had a little bit more than 2,200 in there. And if you've seen the picture that Slipmat's Mrs. Rachel took from the stage from that event, which has become quite iconic in recent years, you'll see how packed and how good that event was. Amazing. I remember coming out the venue after we've been grafting all day, setting up, coming out, whatever time it was about to start, opened the doors, and I went, fuck. This queue, I mean, if you know the King's Hall and the road that runs around the side of it, the queue, all the way around the corner, out of sight, and I'm talking like, it's probably 250 yards to get out of sight. The queue's up round the corner, gone. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Fuck, this is mental. Sold that one out. We did another one about 8 weeks later. It was about another 2,000 people. And then we just rolled and toured with it. We took it to bowlers. We did motion in the August in Bristol, and the motion parties. If you went to the Bristol ones, you'll know they were very special. They were really, really good. Next level vibe. The people down there are so chilled. We did motion skate park, sold that out completely. That was 2,100 people. The full place open. That was the August, and then we went for the biggie. We went for bowlers, which had just got its license back. There had been one compulsion event in there.
Yeah.
And we were on it. Right, who's got... Anyway, get in touch with Simon at Bowlers. Simon, look, we're interested in doing a Fantazia. We want to come and do one at Bowlers. When are you coming up?
Yeah.
Kindly answer, Simon. Let's talk.
Yeah.
Can this happen?
Yeah.
Come up, let's talk.
Yeah.
So 3 days later, I think it was, we're up in Manchester, we're in Bowlers, walking around. This is an iconic venue. I mean, rave there since, mid-90s. Yeah. And what is a promoter walking around thinking, hey, I'm going to put some on. It's like, what the fuck?
Because it's fucking
This is
huge.
immense. Yeah, this is surreal.
It's huge, not just in size, but in stature.
Everything. It's mammoth. And what you got to remember with Bowlers is it's not like a club or your average venue. It's an empty shell.
Yeah.
It's an empty shell. There's nothing in there. So you are not.
An event centre,
you're not just going in. You're not just putting some DJs in there.
Yeah.
You're not just going putting a couple of lights on. This is like a complete.
Yeah.
It's 4-day setup. Yeah. 2 Arctic lorries and 4 days setting up.
Jesus Christ. And then, people don't see that.
No, and with us, what we always did, we always wanted to be one better than everybody else with production. So we went nuts with the production. We used to get full effects from Stuart from Destruction and Cy Joblin and the guys down from there to do the most outrageous decor. We get the most outrageous inflatables and stage setups, pole dancers on the stage. We were the first promoters to put LED walls into Bowlers. Nobody else had done that before. We were the first promoters to do that in there. We went for the biggie, and I went in.
Go big or go home seems to be your motto.
Obviously, I'm not going to lie. I was shitting myself. It's allegedly 90 odd grand to put on. So you're not talking a couple of quid here. If this goes tits up. This is like life changing. It's not like you're going to lose 5 grand, 10 grand, which is a nightmare. But
this is lose your house.
This is like lose your life. This is like everything could go. 90 fucking grand. Thousands of people just to put your money back in your pocket. And this is what a lot of people don't understand with promoters is that the risks that we do have to take sometimes are phenomenal. And people always think you've got to be passionate, and we love what we do. We do it for that reason. But people don't understand sometimes quite the predicament that we are put in for the sake of putting on a party. And quite often people, you should be doing it for the love. It's like, hold on a minute. You go and put your house and everything you own on the line just for the love of it. You don't do it.
No, of course you don't. The risk versus reward. I mean, the reward financially can sometimes be nothing at all, or
it can be a massive loss. I've lost tens of thousands on an event. I've made good money on an event. Again, I'm not going to mention figures. This is not what it's about. But getting in there and doing the Fantazia in Bowlers and actually pulling it off. As a promoter, I think my most proud moment would be standing on the stage at Bowlers and I was emceeing Stu's set, Stu Allen's set. I can remember turning around and looking at Stu, and I've got a picture of us just almost seconds after it happened, and I'm leaning forward with the mic in hand, and Stu's on the decks in the background behind me, and I can just remember looking out across this crowd, and I've got a bottle of champagne in one hand, I've got the mic in the other, and I'm just looking at everybody, and I had this feeling rushing through me, and it was just like, just a moment just to go, fucking hell, this is immense. And this makes it all worthwhile.
What was the lineup for the Fantazia and Bowlers then? For the
first one, who wasn't on it? I had CJ Bolland, I think, CJ Bolland over, Dave Angel, Trevor Rockcliffe,
Jesus Christ,
Top Buzz, Stu Allen, Rat Pack, Rosala, Enjoy.
It was like a Fantazia event, and it was different genres.
Stupid, yes. Old School in the main room. I was trying to think what we did with the other rooms. We had Techno, which again we went down. Ribs, Dave Angel, Mac One, Trevor Rockcliffe, Colin Dale, CJ Bolland, proper
techno,
quality techno, real good quality techno music. Then we had a little jungle room, jungle and drum and bass in another room. It was nuts, absolutely nuts. And then the back room was like more your happy hardcore.
Yeah.
So Cy, Slipmat, Dougal, Vibes, Charlie B,
Never heard of them.
Charlie B, Lively. Two of my guys there, Charlie B and Lively. Yeah. And from there, we carried on working. And so I'm going to move on to this bit now. Sorry if I'm not giving you a lot of time to talk, Jake.
No, it's okay. No,
I've got so much to say,
the
mate.
The stage is yours, mate. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the stories.
So we took the Fantazia thing all over the place. We did Birmingham. Birmingham went tits up. That was fucking horrific. I wish I'd never done it. That's one event. Everything went wrong.
Yeah.
From the start of the night. Weeks before, everything it went wrong. I had issues on the night with certain local firms turning up on the door, wanting to just come walking in for free.
Yeah.
And there's me being a fucking idiot. I knew they were. I was in a bad mood. I was high, trying to suck up what was going on. So I've been hitting the beak, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
And I'm stood there arguing with this fucking local firm and telling them they ain't coming in. In the end, I spent 40 minutes with them. Even the security are going to me, they're going,
let them in.
And I'm like, no. In the end, they stood there and one of them turned around, he put his hand in his pocket, pulled out about 200 quid. I went, you ain't going in for fuck all. I says, you're giving me something. Yeah. And in the end, one of them pulled out a wad of cash out of his pocket. It wasn't enough to cover them all. I went, that'll do.
Yeah.
So one of them walked out, the ringleader out, the guys, the firm, the main guy from the firm at the front, he was stood there, he was a rough ass guy, man.
Yeah.
He come up to me, looked at me and he went, respect. He says, no one's ever stood there like that before.
Yeah.
And I earned their respect.
Yeah.
I got something out of them.
Yeah.
So I was happy. They got in. They weren't too happy, I don't think, the fact that I wasn't being confrontational. Yeah. I was being what I call...
You're not just walking.
If I let one person go walking in, I've got to let everybody come fucking walking in. And I'm not having people take me for a dickhead. Yeah. You can't on the door as a promoter in that situation because people will take advantage. That was another night that was altogether.
Birmingham wasn't too good.
No. Let's say I departed very early the next day. Birmingham went tits up. And the story people ask me is, what happened with Fantazia? What happened? Why did I lose the brand?
Yeah.
I basically allowed a certain person, I'm not going to mention a name, you all know, I'll refer to him as Sheep Shit Boy, okay? Came to do one of the events with us in Bristol. I'd known him a couple of years. He kind of sweet talked me into it. Look, I've got this, blah, 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 I can bring that to the table. And I have this general policy I'd learned is I don't do events with other people. And I made a mistake. I made a big mistake and I did an event with another person, with a third party.
Okay.
So I brought somebody else into the fold. I'm doing my normal thing. He wants to do something a bit different. I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's time to do something a bit different. So I kind of roll in with it. And then he wants to put this artist on. We've done the budget. Everything's put together. Then he wanted to put, I think it was Goldie on the lineup. We're not talking a couple of quid here.
No, of course you're not. No.
And it's like, we find where we are. I know where we're at. I know what we've got here. As great as Goldie is, and much I'd love to have him on the lineup, he wanted to have him on. So we started off having like little, I want this, I want that. And I'm like, look, it's my event, basically. It's my branding. Boom, boom, boom. And he forces his way through and starts, all of a sudden he's doing nothing work-wise. Then coming to me and going, I'm like, leave, cut that a bit. I'm going, is this bit done? Yeah, I'm sorting that out. Now I'm arranging for my production team to come in. And next thing he's telling me he's got his production team coming in. And I'm like, so anyway, we kind of roll with it and things just got worse and worse as we're putting this event on. And what it turns out is that this guy was good friends with said, and I'll tell you after why I say said promoter of Fantazia's friend of his daughter's.
Yeah.
So behind my back, this person is going to the person who owns the branding, okay, allegedly owned the branding. Now, this is the fucking killer. Basically telling him this about me, that about me, I'm doing this, I'm that, I'm this, bad-mouthing me. And at the same time saying, look, give me the brand, okay? I'm going to do this with it, and that with it. I'm going to be doing this festival, which another world festival, which you again, we'll come to that in a minute. Making these promises and basically cut a deal behind my back with the alleged owner of the Fantazia brand. Yeah. Okay? So, that event...
And he didn't see through that?
he saw the money, obviously.
Right, okay.
Not that he needs it.
Yeah.
Guy's got more than enough.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. I honestly don't. I can't. I don't know. I think what was being said to him about me, I exactly to this day, I don't know. But whatever it was, it took the brand to him. He'd made a promise of doing so many events, X amount of money. I did the Northampton event, and then the week after, I spoke with the alleged promoter of Fantazia, owner of Fantazia, and he said, right, I'm passing the event over to such and such, and cut me out of it completely. Completely, just like that. So, was it 5 years of running the brand?
Yeah.
He's given the brand to some guy who has got festival knowledge through his parents, years and years of event experience. Turns out there's no real festival background. His mother was found guilty of an offence of theft from a charity, which is of tens of thousands of pounds. Okay.
That's as low as it goes.
That's as low as it goes, my mate. That's as low as it goes. People have been asking me, so I'm telling them the truth.
Yeah.
Before the event happened, which was at Motion, things started getting a bit ugly. Okay. I say they got a bit ugly as the stage where I started getting a little bit to say, I knew something's going on.
Yeah.
I was getting a bit aggravated. I was getting annoyed. I could feel something bubbling.
Yeah.
And come the night, there's money issues. Money he's supposed to have brought in. This is supposed to have gone there. Things aren't totally up. So I've ended up basically, it's alleged that I grabbed him, took him into a room at the back of the club, and
Give him a slap.
I gave him a slap. Yeah, I gave him a slap. So I took him in the back and I gave him allegedly gave him a bit of a slap. There's no cameras in there at all, so
it's your word against
it's his word against mine. That happened. I rolled him a little bit and blah blah blah. Again, went home, assessed it the Monday. I was fucking bitter. I was angry as fuck. I was hurting. I was in bits, mate. This is like 5 years of work. This is my livelihood. Where's my money coming from to live on as well? This is not just an event for people to come to. This is a lot of time and effort. This is my living as a promoter. This is actually my living. As much as I love what I'm doing, I'm massively passionate about it, as everybody fucking knows. This is everything's just. It's like losing your job basically. Or you're gone.
It's not basically
That's basically what I did. Yeah,
it's like the contract, isn't it?
Yeah.
Lose the contract.
So that's what happened there. I was basically cut out of it, pushed to one side, and at the time I was angry. I allegedly made threats to said sheep shit boy, and from what I gathered, he moved out of his family home for a week, and I'll never do anything to harm anybody's family ever in my lifetime. I did want to get my hands on him, and I did want to hurt him. I'm not going to lie to you. Yeah. But
he took something very precious from me.
Yeah, he did, mate.
It's
not just that; it hurt my pride. It dented me that I was stupid enough to let somebody come into something for them to then do that to me. You know, what I mean, that is as low as it comes. You know what I mean? So I was, as upset as I was at the time. I was kind of, really getting into my bodybuilding. I've been training for years, but I was really sort of getting into my bodybuilding and. Just through coincidence, I was doing my personal training courses at the time, and again, it's one of those things happen for a reason. So we lost one door shut, another one's kind of opened. All these things I wanted to do to sheep shit boy.
Yeah.
I said to Stace in the end, I said, you know what?
Forget it.
I says, if I give him enough. He's going to do whatever I do to him. He's going to do it to himself.
Yeah.
I said I don't need to do anything. I know what this type of person. I know what happens to this type of person. I know what is going to happen to him. He doesn't need me to do anything. He doesn't need anybody else to do anything.
He'll fuck himself up somewhere along the way.
Yes, exactly that. So he did. He fucked it up. He did 2 shitty little tiny parties with about 400 people in the courtyard in Bristol. Production was awful, event was awful, and then plans this on top of 2 shit events, right? Plans this, is it 10,000, 20,000, another Planet Festival in some field somewhere. I'll just be honest with you, I completely ignored it. I didn't even want to look at it. So I just left him to it. Oh, well, one cancelled. A lot of people think lost their money. Second one went in, or the money went back into the second scheduling of the event. That went tits up. There was tens of thousands of pounds of customers' money that never got returned. DJs obviously all lost out. Artists lost out. People who are doing production or lost out on bookings that they could have been in something else that night.
That's what people don't understand. When a gig or an event gets cancelled, you're not only depriving the customer of a night out, they might have arranged travel, they might have arranged accommodation, babysitters, days off work.
Might be there only one night out of the year.
And then, of course, like you say, there's the artists. That artists might become a lot.
And production teams.
Oh, there's a widespread, and it happens a lot in Liverpool. There's the same people in Liverpool who put events on. And, they build these nights on, and you know full well it's through lack of ticket sales or low ticket sales, and they pull them. They make some bullshit excuse up the fucking venues closing down, or the fucking, the Alecki's gone or whatever, and you know full well they've put these events on.
It's gone tits up.
And it's ticket sales. Yeah. Rather than just put the events on and take the loss, they'd rather deprive everybody.
Never cancelled an event we started promoting in 1999, so it's 24 years, never cancelled an event.
Yeah.
The other one we get asked about, but yeah, let me go back to that one. Yeah, go back from that one and go back to that one. So yeah, we moved out of the we completely stepped out of it. I stepped out of it as an MC, I stepped out of it as a promoter and an agent, because I was also an agent at the time. I was dealing with management, some of the bookings for Rat Pack, Top Buzz, Slipmat, most of the major artists, K-Class, they were all on mine and Stacey's agency, which was XL Artist Management. That got left. I did my personal training course, and at the time, again, I was getting very passionate about my bodybuilding. So I was kind of got swerved into that side of things, completed my personal training courses. This shop that we're now sat in, which is Muscle Hustle, sports supplements in Tunstall. If ever you need any supplements, hit me up.
Sponsor of the Couture podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Today's entertainment is Muscle Hustle. So yeah, we split into this, and what was a bad thing at the time turned into a godsend, because it moved us away from the rave side of things, which obviously helped with sort of other elements that we've already discussed earlier on the drug side of things. It put me into fitness rather than just being overweight, unfit. I'm eating healthy, I'm training healthy. Shop opens. It's took us 7 years with the shop to build it to where it is now. It was a mess when we took it over. It was a shell. There was hardly any equipment here. There was, there probably about 6 different tubs have gone out, stuff on the shelves. Yeah. All this was new. I had all this put in. But we've just built it, and I've built my reputation up as a personal trainer and a coach. I've trained competitive athletes for competition. I've competed in, I think, coming up to 20 shows myself. Yeah.
So we'll touch on that, because the bodybuilding side of things, I've seen pictures of you. There was a picture you put up of you on stage competing where you're at the peak of physical fitness, and a picture of yourself a few years previous
with the microphone on the stage and a beer belly out there.
To be fair though, you were still a big lad.
Yeah,
you weren't.
I've always been big and ugly.
Yeah, I wouldn't say ugly. Yeah, I mean, I've seen worse.
I wouldn't argue if you called me ugly. I'd be called worse, my mate. I tell you.
But you were always big. You could see, you could obviously the belly side of things. But you were still big. Yeah. So when did it? Obviously, I was training in that picture. But
so
when did it change?
That was when we took the shop on. We sponsored a couple of local athletes, Heather Cowley and Steve Woolley, and they're still very good friends of ours. Heather's actually been in this morning, bless her. Lovely little lady, as I think. But you don't mess with her. She's got wings like a shield of steel.
Pocket rockets.
We went to watch them compete in a bodybuilding show. It was only the second bodybuilding show I've been to. One was probably 15 years ago, which was the North Staffs Open, which was down at Kidsgrove Town Hall. That was run by a guy called Phil Simic, who's no longer with us, unfortunately. And I'd never been to a show until that day. And then the one we went to watch Steve and Heather. And I watched them and saw the athletes on stage, and I'm sitting there, I'm looking at these physiques, and I was in reasonably good shape. I wasn't in bodybuilder shape. I was athletic.
Yeah.
And I said to there and then on that day, I says, "Do you know what?" I says, "I could do this." So walked away. I did what's known as an off season, which is a bulking, which worked very, very well. And I competed the following. It was about 9-10 months later. I did my first show, won the first timers category. They put me into the novice category as well on the same day.
So how old are you at this point?
40.
It's a fucking it's a tough age to start, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, very tough age.
Once you get past...
a lot of the guys I'm competing against as well, if it's going on height category, which is class 1, class 2, class 3, some of the lads I'm competing against have been competing 15 years and are like 35.
Yeah.
30, 35.
You've been competing a year and you're fucking 40.
Yeah.
Yeah. So fucking hell, that's off to you,
yeah. It's difficult.
Yeah.
My physique had faults. My legs were particularly weak. They're still not my strongest area, but they're good enough to do what I need to do. And just built on it from there, basically.
Yeah. Still compete now?
Yeah. I didn't last season. I won't this season. Last season I didn't, as most people are aware. We don't put personal things on Facebook. We got to the stage where we had to last year because Stace was that ill.
Yeah.
I was literally backwards and forwards to the hospital. There was no way. And if you're competing, you've got to be able to dedicate everything. Before, it's all or nothing.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm very much an all or nothing person. If I'm doing something, I'm doing it. And another reason I stopped promoting for those 3.5 years was because I didn't have my heart in it.
Yeah.
And I feel that if I haven't got my heart in something, I'm not going to be putting on the best rave.
Yeah.
If you haven't got the passion in you, how can you give people the best rave? You can't.
Yeah.
So I will only people going, put a party on, put a party on. No,
Yeah.
I've got to say to them, no, I don't want to. I don't feel it in me. And then bit by bit, I think through that bullshit period of COVID, all that bollocks, my love of music started coming back, and I started dipping my toes back in the water, and here we are today.
So that brings me back to the question we asked before, which didn't quite get answered.
This is
the
terrible.
Kinetic reunion.
The Kinetic reunions.
How did that come about? Because obviously you were the Kinetic guy.
I'm a Kinetic head. I mean, just if you can see from there, just
any excuse to get the fucking guns out.
My Kinetic.
I've got a drone on here on my little skinny forearm. Look at that.
I'd like to say I've got Made in England tattooed down my cock, but they can only get the M on it.
Just got me on mine.
Right,
so
Kinetic. So that was something that was always installed in my heart. Kinetic is just honestly that's what has basically set me up in my life and the path that I have took. It's Club Kinetic. That is the deciding factor that has brought me to where I am in my life right now. Now, the first party we did was in 2013. We did it as a free. I started up a Kinetic group. I started getting loads of the old heads feeding back on there, and in the end, I thought, you know what, fuck it. I was doing Fantazia at the time as well. I thought, as just a side thing, I'll do it. We'll do a free party. I'll see if I'll call the boys up. I'll give the lads a call. See if everybody will come and play for fuck all.
Yeah.
We'll do it for charity.
Yeah.
And we did first one. I think it was for friends of ours' daughter who has an issue, as to put it, rather than going into it. So we did it for charity. There was not a penny made on the event. All the DJs played for free. There was no entry fee. Everyone was just given codes, and all we asked people to do was give a donation on the night.
Yeah.
So everybody was coming in with its donation buckets. I think we did a couple of grand. I think we took. The party was full. It was at Kiel University. We did a car park meetup before, so about 6 o'clock. There's videos on Facebook. There's loads of us on the car park. We've got whistles and horns going. I got up on the wall, did a speech. And that's where the Kinetic reunion started at. Now, it was called Legends of the Leisure Bowl. It's just bit by bit as we've gone on, we've used the Kinetic thing in it. I don't own the Kinetic brand. It's not registered to me.
But no one's got a problem with you using it.
Well,
that's
as far as I'm aware, and I think more to the point, people are more than happy me using it because they know that when me and Stacey do a party, there's a saying out there, if you ask the ravers, there ain't no party like an Alex and Stacey party. It's quite, and you'll see it quite a lot on Facebook and social media, and there ain't no party like a, and so on and so on. So we continued doing them, and we were doing a couple a year, and then COVID hit. We had a couple of years out, and then the year before last, we came back. Brought it back, Kinetic reunion. It's still Legends of the Leisure Bowl, so we're not claiming to be Club Kinetic. Club Kinetic was originally Errol, and then Andy and Glenn. Andy and Glenn took over from then. Andy knows I do the events. I've spoken to Andy about it.
That's as much if he's aware of it.
Errol had issues with it in the early days. I did have a couple of solicitors' letters sent through, which, to be honest with you, I ignored. It was Kinetic was down as a not a trademark, intellectual property, which I think is now run out.
So there you go.
I think if anybody had an issue with me using it, come and tell me. I'm here, you know where I am. This is my shop. Anybody's got a problem with me, that's where my door is, it's as simple as that.
I won't be here. I'm staying out of this.
You know, we put such big lineups on in such a small venue. Yeah. We're not doing it to make money. Yeah. We're doing it to put one party on a year. That's why we keep it to one. Yeah, we're not trying to make money. Yeah. And if anybody knows anything about promoting, will look at that lineup, and I can tell you now that 19 out of 20 promoters could not put that party on with that lineup in that venue. Yeah, they can't. Yeah.
Because you've got the contacts of the people that over the years...
people that are prepared to come and do it and work a little, and they know that what I'm putting on in there is it's a sanctuary lineup, basically. Yeah. It's a sanctuary-sized lineup in a 450 capacity venue.
Yeah. So when's the next one?
30th September. Yeah, that's halfway to sold out. It's about 250 tickets gone for that. I'm not even pushing it. Quite who isn't on it? Yeah. Ultrasonic.
Never
Mal, Big Mal,
never heard
Big Mal from Scotland.
Yeah.
Top guy Mal. His Mal's coming down. They're going to smash the shit out of it. So if you remember what they were like last time at Kinetic, 1996 went off. That was one hell of a party.
I was lucky enough to be with Matt last night.
Yeah, you were saying,
the old school takeover. Got me pictures up with him, and I spoke to him, and hopefully he's going to come on the podcast.
I'm sure Mel will.
Yeah, you'll give him a nudge.
I'll give him a nudge. I'll give him a nudge.
So what we'll do is we'll get the flyer up on the screen for this as well.
Yeah, we'll put it on. But we've got Easy Groove on there, Robbie D. Again, some funny nights, some funny parties with Dennis and Robbie. Yeah. A couple of top guys, characters.
Robbie D lives down Ireland now, doesn't he?
Yes, I believe he's in Liverpool now. Yeah. Robbie's very nomadic. Yeah. He was a sofa surfer of the 90s, mate. Yeah. He was a sofa surfer of the 90s, weren't you, Robbie?
He's the one on the side at some point.
We got on there Easy Groove, Robbie. We got a few of the Sheffield boys on there, Mongoose, Easy D. Crikey, who haven't we got on? Sharky. It's massive. We'll just put the flyer on. Yeah. It's a lot easier.
We are going to finish off now, Al. Once we let this lady in the shop. Go on, we'll let it in. It's okay.
Told off now, do I?
It's all right. I
thought it was my mum. Yeah. I thought it was my mum. Come knock on the door. It's the phone been ringing all day. She's at the door now. Mum, not now.
We are going to finish off now, Al, with some quick fire questions.
Okie dokie.
I will take your first answer and your first answer only.
Far away.
Sharky or ribs?
Man!
Even his
pals!
Even his wife gasped.
They're my pals. Very different. God, shit. I'm going to say ribs. Purely on the fact that ribs was one of the first MCs on the scene. Yeah. Ribs, Robbie D, Mad P, they were before Sharky came through, which he was massively 94, 95. He really boomed.
Because you didn't pick Sharky, you're homophobic.
I love Sharky.
That's what you've done.
And he can't keep his hands off me.
The next one's a lot easier.
Can you, John? He'll watch this.
Mario or Sonic?
Oh, crikey. I'm not a big games player. Sonic.
Music or film?
Music.
When you're not training, gatto or cheesecake?
Cheesecake.
If you could go back to your 18-year-old self and say one thing, what would it be?
Do it!
Fucking shit myself then.
Good, you meant to.
Pepsi or Coca-Cola? I'm not going to say Pepsi or Coke because...
Coke, all day long.
Pepsi or Coca-Cola?
We've already touched base on that one. Yeah. Coca-Cola.
Any New Year's resolutions?
No, just enjoy life, live it. Enjoy what you've got, the people around you. Live, love, dance, and remember, people, life is too short. If there's something you want to do, don't think it's too late. Get it done.
Clearly. Starting bodybuilding at 40.
Just do it. Whatever it is, if there's something you want to do it before it's too fucking late, please.
One thing you would rid from the world.
One thing I would rid from the world. Paedophiles.
That's a top answer, that, by the way. Favourite movie? Never heard of it.
Favourite movie?
Or go to, like a
New Jack City.
Space Raiders or Monster Munch?
Monster Munch.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Alive or dead? Who would you like to have dinner with?
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Big Mac or a Whopper?
Big Mac or a Whopper?
There's some titles here, don't I?
Big Mac or a Whopper?
Big Mac or a Whopper?
I'm not a big fan of either, but if I have the choice, I'd probably have a Whopper, because I am a fucking Whopper.
Rocky 3 or Rocky 4?
Rocky 3.
And what's the best podcast you've ever been on?
This one.
Yay! Thank you very much, Al. It's been an absolute
Give me that
pleasure.
tenner later, bro.
Anything else you want to say before we have any mentions? Any shout outs?
I would like to just mention everybody who supports and follows what me and Stacey is over there hiding away. Supports and follows everything that we've done and that we do over the years on both sides of the fence, from the music through to bodybuilding. I'd like to thank my mother for giving birth to me, because without her and my father, I truly would not be here. That's about it, mate. Yeah, I've got so many stories that I've got to tell you.
This is prime for a part 2. This you said the list of questions you have on the phone.
I'm just going to look through a couple of things.
Go on, any last ones you want to put in?
Yeah, okay. This is a quick one.
Here we go.
We had a party at our house. Lively, Jodie, Sticks, Geneva, Sticks man came round, and Lively had a hot tub at the time. Make this very quick. Lively turned up beginning of the night. Like, it's walking around for the first few hours. Comes to hot tub time. Boom! Drops his trousers down. He stood there as bold as day in his black speedos. He had a booking that night. He left us, drove up to Liverpool, I think it was, on his own, still wearing his speedos. He emceed his set wearing his speedos.
He also said his balls were getting cut off.
He did say it felt like he was getting circumcised.
If you listen, if you listen to my podcast with Lee, he tells a belter story about one of the Helter Skelters. He had a family party. I won't ruin it for you. He had a family party the same night as Helter Skelter. Didn't tell his missus, didn't tell Jodie. And on the night, we was like, look, clock watching, thinking, fucking I have to go here. He did something to break the ice. I won't tell you what it was, but if you go back to the podcast, I think it was episode 10. Go back to my podcast and listen to the story. Very interesting story.
Couple other ones, right?
Go on, mate.
Another one. After party at our house, after Legends.
There's a theme here, isn't there?
I'm just going to throw a few in quickly, and we can throw these in anywhere. Rat Pack come back to the house. A couple of girls have kind of come with them that they met while they were out. Just ravers, nothing like that. No funny stuff or anything. There was a group of about eight of us probably in our kitchen. We're all just partying as you do after party. Next thing you know, I think Stacey's gone and got my daughter's keyboard. She's brought down. My daughter at the time was like 5 or something like that. She brought it down, stuck it on the side. So I've got Limp Master Mark, starts playing all the old school classics on his keyboard. Boom. Evs bums in, starts dropping lyrics over the top. So we've got a full Rat Pack show going on in the kitchen. Fucking blinding. Full on, mate. Full on. Everyone's sort of bobbling around. The next thing, one of these 2 girls that have come with Rat Packs pulled a camera phone out and started recording it. Everson went, "Put that away." So what happens here stays here.
What happens in the kitchen stays in the kitchen.
Put your phone away. So with that, puts the phone away. And with that, there was this sort of like little quick moment. Evs is the most lovely bloke, and he just sort of quickly stays here. And with that, I went, "Evs, what's that out there?" And I pointed out the window, and he turned around. He's like, "What?" I went, "Somewhere out there looking through my window." Evs was just going, "What the hell?"
He's an MC, by the way, not a singer.
Yeah, I can't see him with shit, man.
I can see he's wondering there.
That's why Ev sticks to that. Man, there's just so many things I would like to throw in, but I'm not going to. In fact,
one more. One more. We want one more.
Right, okay, all right, one more. We worked in Bromsgrove one night. Promoter put us all in a hotel. There's myself, Mark Archer, alternate, Mark One, Mark Butler, Jeff Man Paris, couple of others on. Ratty and Tango headline that night. Bless his soul. Our old mate Jamie Tango as well. We're one of the finest. He needs a mention in there as well. And Rough Jimbo. We basically stayed in this hotel. We went back after party. Jeff had gone back early. Wasn't feeling the vibe or something. He just, I'm going back to the hotel early. Left us at the club. He went back. Must have gone to bed. We carry on partying in this hotel room, and we're smoking big doobies in there. Next thing you know, fucking fire alarm's gone off. There's about 6 of us in this room. They evacuate the whole hotel, so everybody's been kicked out. So we're kind of walking out like, oh, ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. I wonder what's going on in there. I wonder why they kicked us all out, kind of thing. Anyway, we'll come outside, and they're all out there. Mark Archer come out, Mark One come out, and everybody else who was in there. Everyone all stood there. Where the fuck's Jeff? He must have gone home. Jeff's gone home. Yeah. Man, Paris has gone home, man. What's happened? So anyway, they let us back in the hotel. We issued a fine for apparently smoking, allegedly smoking. Allegedly. We were smoking in a room.
That word allegedly.
We were blazing. Next morning, knock on the door. It's Jeff.
Where have you been?
All right, morning. Jeff, where have you been? He went, what do you mean? I says, fucking fire alarm went off. The whole hotel was evacuated. Jeff slept through the whole thing. Evacuation of the whole hotel. He slept through the whole thing, mate.
Fucking hell.
Come out wet and fresh as a daisy. What you got on the early nights kit? Slept through the alarm.
Unbelievable. Right,
Call it a day there. Done.
Wrap up.
Jay.
Thank you very much,
Thank you for coming, brother.
Look at the size difference. Look at the size this couldn't compare to me. I get called Big J at work sometimes. I'm like a child next to him. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Follow me on the socials, Instagram, YouTube, subscribe, and we'll get more guests on as the year goes on. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Go!